Afternoon, everyone. Well, this is Keith Thompson on Power Tools with Thread from Becky. What we're going to talk about today is LegitKits, how easy it is to do it with a straight line. And we're doing Vortex, Color Vortex, month 3. There's a couple things I want to show you today that we haven't done yet, and that's to keep you continuing on. I know I've been delayed a little bit. Been 105 degrees out, and I've been trying to put up a fence, so I've been staying busy. But if you want to look in the background, we go from doing what a basic kit does, and that's what you have to learn how to do with the straight line. And then when you get finished, you could do something like this eagle or my fox over here to the right. But look how beautiful that is. You don't have to be perfect. One thing that I'd like to stress is all it is, this is fabric and thread. So if you make a mistake, we can redo it. You know, you can get more thread, you can get more fabric. So to get started today, what we're going to do is I've already done half of it because I wanted to show you how to put them together. We'll be doing 2 different blocks to put together, which will be 3 pages. And this is really good because I get to show you how to put them together. Then we'll sew the big ones together, and then that's all you do the rest of the time. We're on block 3, so we're almost done with the top row. I'm going to try to get block or month 4 done to get ahead of time because it's coming up to the busy time of the year with Becky and I just want to be ahead if I can be. Let me show you what I've already done. I did these 2 blocks yesterday to get ready for this, and we'll sew those together, or I'll show you how to sew them together. Put that to the side, and we have all the stuff. Remember, in the kit, it has you a cutting choice, or tells you how to cut it, the fabric color, and how to cut it. Now, I found with this kit, I don't have as much extra as I usually do, but because of my technique that I use, I haven't ran out yet, so we're good. And then here's a whole bunch of different cuts there. So you might pay attention to that if you're getting stressed, but don't stress on LegitKits, because if you do run out of fabric, contact LegitKits. They'll give you more fabric that you need. Here's what we're doing today. Basically, we're going to be doing D2 because I've already done C2. So we'll put this together, and here's what it's going to look like basically in the end. And if you have any questions, Becky does a lot better with these color charts than I do. Sculliver has over 100, I think. So, and they all have different numbers and everything. But here's the color charts that we got with this block. So it's relatively easy. You can see where they're at, and they're ready to go. Okay, first thing first, I got to get everything off my table. Put it on the side. I'm going to show you the technique, what I do. You know, the big sheets, they're easy. All we got to do is sew those together, and we will do that first. But the ones that have 2 different sheets, I'm going to show you a little detail that I do. I take my add a quarter ruler, and what I do is where that add a quarter is on the border, I just add that to my paper so I'm not dealing with extra paper. Throw away the other ones. And I don't want y'all to tell Mike, but I'm going to tell you now. If you buy one of these kits, the cool thing is, if you want to make it again, run it through a printer, and then you can have it'll be a thicker paper, or if you can find a paper, but that way you'll have the pattern for the rest of your life if you want to use it. I'm not doing that because I doubt I'll ever make this one again, but some people might want to use their own fabric on their next kit. It's like getting a digital download, but you've already paid for it, so you got it to go. So in LegitKits, what they suggest, you always do the biggest pieces first. So what I do with these is I put them underneath my cutting table here. First thing we're going to do is got to cut 1 and 2, or not cut, but fold it over. And we're ready to go on there. The 2 fabrics that we're going to need is AL and DK, which I have over here somewhere. AL number 1, so it'll go on top. And DK is underneath. I have my iron there when I need it because I don't like wrinkles. Okay, setting up the machine. Like I said, I use the center straight line and I go down to 1.0 when I'm doing the basic fabric here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up to make sure I have enough fabric for both sides. And remember, number 1 is always on top. That's the easiest one. But notice how big this piece, are you seeing it?
You're on that camera
okay.
Now. Yeah.
See, this piece is so long, you got to make sure that's number 1, and I got to have enough fabric for number 2, which is underneath here. And it looks good to me, but I have to have it. Fold it over, get your 1/4 inch.
It's kind of hard to see what you're doing, but let me get the camera. Sorry, guys. I don't want to make anybody sick, but we want to see what you're doing. Can you? Well, still can't see what you're doing. Let me see.
Okay, what I've done is I've lined up. I got my 1/4 inch at least. Now make sure you have your fabric there. I had a little incident yesterday that I had to redo one. So it happens.
So are you sewing on the inside of the, oh, you're sewing straight on your fold line?
Yes.
Okay.
Straight on the fold line. Like I said, number 1's easy because you see the fabric that it can do. Just make sure you have enough of number 2, the one underneath, which we have plenty of fabric. And here we go. You'll notice my pieces already have been cut because I did the first 2 blocks. And use your finger under filling the side over here, because that way you know you're got material under there and you don't want to run off. And the reason I say that is if I don't pay attention sometimes, I have to redo it. Now, the 2 reasons we use 1.0 is to make the paper come off easy, and it makes it easier to follow the line. Once we have that, let's come over here, put it on the ironing table. Beautiful. Now, I didn't get that line out of there, and I use my quilting crafting spray, Magic Premium, and it's great stuff. Like I've said before, it's not like the stuff I used to use on my military uniforms. I don't get white blotches.
Christina says this is her first LegitKit quilt.
Oh, cool. And just remember, have fun with it. Don't get stressed. There's enough going on in the world today that you have to watch the Grit channel for the old Westerns. So you might as well enjoy sewing It's really easy here in Texas right now, being as 100 degrees. It's only going to be 102 today.
Cold front.
And it is actually a cold front coming through.
So what are you doing now? You're lining up on the next.
Yeah.
Fold line?
Oh, yeah. We're going from, this is the third cut or third fabric. Fold it over.
Keith likes to fold on a piece of cardboard. And sometimes the ruler, sometimes the cardboard.
Well, I do the first one with the ruler, and then the second one with cardboard because I have to use my ruler.
Ah.
And you set it up to get your quarter, add a quarter. It has that little rail on there. And I tell you what, that ruler saves the day.
Really improves your accuracy.
When I first started, I didn't have an added quarter. I had just a regular ruler and I found out my eye and the 1/4 inch weren't always the same.
So let me see the add a quarter ruler so I can show them what it is.
I have one here.
Do you have another one?
I do.
Okay. You've got the long one. That's the add a quarter plus that you're using. So the add a quarter ruler, we've got a link below. Okay. So it has like a beveled edge right here that you can use to fold and get a nice sharp crease. And then you can see it has a little ledge right there. That is the 1/4 inch. And you set the ledge right on your seam line or your fold line. And when you cut it, now you've got a perfect 1/4 inch seam. So absolutely an essential tool when you are making one of these paper pieced kits.
And when you're already at the end, I go ahead and cut on the border.
So do you cut, like I said, inside the gray line or outside?
Right on the edge of the gray line.
The outside edge of the gray line. So it is
right on, yes, on the outside.
Right on the outside edge. Okay.
And I tell you what, I just dropped my deal. I keep these little snips here because with the roller, sometimes on the corners, it doesn't pick them up. And it took a jump into the trash can over here.
Almost threw away your martelli.
And when I started doing Sculliver this week, I found out that my seam ripper was missing in action.
That's probably where it went.
Okay, we got that. The next one is QY. And that would be this orange.
So all of the fabrics come with little stickers on them so you know what's what. Right. That's the papaya QY. Okay.
Like I said, now we're on the edge here. Now, what's the name of this running edge? It's not
selvage.
Selvage.
He doesn't like sewing with the selvage.
I hate selvage. And I
cuts it off first.
Okay, we've put that onto the sewing machine.
So is that on top?
No, that's on bottom. The only one that goes on top is number 1.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Now you fold your fabric. Now this is where it gets tricky. See, I have it at an angle. You want to make sure that you're going to have enough fabric underneath here. And if you're not sure, go the long ways, because that way you won't be yelling at me later. If you do that and cut it too short, you got 2 options. If you got enough material, just take it off and do it again. Or what I've done in my quilts, because it's quilt. To me, a quilt is put together and also another piece add on to it to make it full if I have to. Because these are going to be your quilts. They're not going to be somebody else's. It's going to look a lot like everybody else's. But it's your quilt when you get done. You get to put your name on there. And see another straight line, bringing it over to our ironing table. And when I pull it back, you can see the outline underneath here. So we have plenty of fabric on there. I like to pull mine a little bit to get that flat edge.
That looks great. Lynn is up in North Texas and she says it's in the 90s there.
Oh, cold front.
Yeah, she says it's amazing how good 90s feel when it's been 105.
Now, before I do the final cut, I don't know if I've told you all this before. What I do is I go ahead and put the starch in there. So that way we have a good solid piece that we're going to trim off. So in this case, most of it's already trimmed. And as you see, if y'all haven't seen my technique, I don't cut the pieces out first. I sew them on and then cut them.
Kim says she's got one of your seam rippers and it works very nice. Great job and thank you.
Yeah, I was going to talk about seam rippers today, about somebody that loaned me one of hers, but she told me I'm not allowed to talk bad about her, so I don't know who she is.
He was in the shop this morning making more when it was cool.
There will be a bunch coming out on the shop tonight.
Best in the industry. Cindy's up in Odessa. We got a lot of Texans here.
That's my girls. Okay, there we go. We got that one done. So now we get to go into the piecing. We got two pieces I'm going to use. They're about both the same size. Really simple, same fabric again. See, on this one, I use the ruler because it's a lot skinnier.
So fabric DK, that's the background lettering, is what you need. And sew to QY, right?
Okay.
I'm just checking.
Quit calling background. All right. DK is number 1, and QY, the one we just used, is number 2. So number 2 is underneath, remember? And like I said, what I do when I have a corner, it's going to be great. I get to show you neat technique here. Okay. Now, I got that salvage, whatever. I always put the sticker on a little piece on there. Because again, you might have scraps, save them. But here's this nasty fuzzy stuff. I'm very technical on my sewing terms. I didn't go to sewing school. And the reason I did that, I like to lie it long pieces. And I'm checking to see if I'm going to use it on the next one. Now, if we switch cameras, I want to show you the technique, because this is kind of tricky on this one. And I knew it was going to be tricky.
So what's tricky about it? Your bottom fabric might not be big enough?
No, the bottom's fine. The top part, you got to make sure on the top part, which is the easiest one, remember, we got plenty of fabric.
We're out of...
Oh, my cameraman.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got plenty of fabric here. So what we got to do is we're going to be sewing on this. So you can't line it up on the edge like we did. So what I'm going to do is take this down. You got to make sure on that number 1 piece, or the top part, which is number 1. And then you got to make sure that the lower piece.
Can you face the lower piece toward the camera so we can see what you're doing real quick?
Okay, so you see, I don't have a 1/4 inch here. We're folding it over, and I do have a 1/4 inch on my orange, and I'm all the way up here. I'm about to make sure that I have fabric underneath all the way, and I got it just barely up there. And we're going to do this again because I moved it a little bit. So really, I'm going off this 1/4 inch because I'm going to cut this off after I sew it. One little stripe here, and I think I pulled it off. Yeah, see, when I moved it, that's what I mean. I always try to fill before I put that needle in there.
It's okay that it's fiddly. We do fiddly things.
Okay, so now I got it. Check again, make sure I got, barely got it up there. Straight line's the easy part, getting them all lined up.
He's sewing on the Brother BQ 950.
I'm showing you. You want me to look at something?
No, you don't have to look at it.
Yes, 950. Okay, there we go on that one. Now, I told you, we're going to have to switch over here to this one. I'm bringing it to the cutting table because we had that extra fabric on there. We're going to cut that off. And all I did was cut the yellow underneath.
Oh, is that so it lays flat? So you iron it flat?
Yeah, and so you don't have an extra bulk. I mean, you can leave it there, but this fabric's so thin that you'll probably be able to notice it, and you don't want that. Okay, so we got it sewn. I'm going to go down. Well, like I said, I like to starch these before I cut them. Because that way I get it better. See, that's why I have my little snippers over here. We had a hanger.
So you don't cut it all off. You just cut to the end of the pattern.
Right.
Okay.
Well, again, that's my theory. I'm trying to save fabric. With these kits,
Sometimes a little point will fit up into that little piece you otherwise wouldn't use as a regular quilter. So these are all Kona solids? And like Keith said, if you make a mistake and you run out of fabric, you can reach out to LegitKit's customer service and they will send you another piece at no charge.
Got that one done.
Look at that.
Beauty must.
That turned out great.
We'll put that over here on the corner because we're going to be using it. Now we got the last piece to do real quick. It's got 3 different colors. And pay attention. Sometimes they'll put a little one in the corner and you might miss it.
Okay, so you want to fold it between 1 and 2?
1 and 2 for the first one.
Okay. I see.
And we're using SB, which we haven't used yet. And we're using QY that we just used, which was the orange, I believe. And I'm putting the sticker down on the small piece. Oh yeah, don't leave your iron on the Martelli pads. They're soft. Oh. Okay, I put the fabric together because this one looks like it's going to be pretty easy. You know, basically it's triangles pretty much. But every once in a while, you know, with the way I do it, you got to have that fabric. One's always on top.
Joy's watching from Gainesville RV Park.
How's her hubby?
Yeah, Joy, how's Jerry doing? Jerry's good. I bought a paper piecing project. Awesome.
Joy, you said you didn't like taking the paper off. I remember that. Okay, by using 0. Uh-oh. Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Wonderful.
That's how that happens. Okay, so here's what happened.
Here's what happened is I didn't have the fabric. I should have gone the long way. And so I have to take this apart real quick.
More paper than fabric?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. And now we're on with the seam ripper. Either that or now see, if it was me, I would just cut that seam right off. But then you mess up the paper, right?
Well, not with the 0. We're going to do it that way.
Yeah.
I used to have tape over here.
I don't know where it went.
Okay. Never mind. We'll figure this out in a minute.
I'll go get you some tape.
So I'm going to cut that off because I know I have plenty here. See, and you know, you can't get excited. It's all good.
Hey, Keith.
Yes, dear.
Fold the orange on top of the yellow and make one cut.
See, I can't do anything without supervision. Do you all notice that?
There you go. Now just cut off the whole seam. I'll go get you some tape.
Yes, dear. Okay, so went the wrong way. The reason I'm having to get the tape is I want to tape this back together. You don't want to use a lot because your sewing machine doesn't like it. And if you're medical, you just put in a little stitch.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Because all you need to do is hold it there for long enough to run the needle through.
You just stole my tape dispenser.
I'm borrowing it. Okay. So we have plenty on the one. I got to make sure I have the underneath. What I'm going to do is bring it down. This way. And this way, when it folds over, see there, that was the little tip that I didn't have on the underneath because Keith wasn't paying
Since you have
attention.
enough fabric over the top of that little piece, you know you have enough now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to watch it here. Now, see, you got to make sure number one's there. Oh, what am I worried about? Oh. Okay, let's do this again since Becky messed up.
What?
Oh, she wasn't doing it.
Cindy King says she's glad you have a seam ripper.
Believe it or not, I use that seam ripper a lot. More than I want to. Now, come on, fold out there, feller.
Have you ever messed it up more than once? Same spot?
Well, we don't want to talk about stuff like
I
that.
have. That's why I don't like paper piecing. Oh, you got it that time. So mistakes are very recoverable.
Yeah. Remember, it's fabric and thread. This stuff is not rocket science. Let's trim this up a little bit.
We've got everybody in here just chatting away. Hey, Thompson's.
Hey.
Yep. People are playing hooky and watching from work.
No, they're at work. They're being productive.
Keeping an eyeball on the email, right?
We never did that. Oh, I cut it.
Says she uses super easy off paper.
Oh, it doesn't come with it. A lot of people say freezer paper is real good. I haven't tried that in a printer yet. So, okay, we got one more fabric in here, which will be simple. Notice I have a lot of orange because we trimmed. Okay, SX. Have we used it? Oh. And this is all they provided with SX, was just what they call a scrap. Make sure you take the stickers off before you iron. If you iron that sticker on there, the fabric likes to keep the glue.
How do you know that?
Becky told me.
Keith has learned the way we all have learned.
The hard way?
Yeah.
Okay, so see, I'm folding it down. I would have missed that, so I'm going to go all the way up to the end here. For those of you that are watching close, you can say, oh, I can see paper there. But I made it extra on my cut, so I wouldn't have to worry about that.
You made the paper bigger than it's necessary, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I cut an extra.
Okay. Here, I'll do that.
That's my add a quarter. Now, notice I'm leaving the paper on here. There's somebody in this room that doesn't like to leave paper on.
Cindy wants to know what kit you are making. And Cindy, he is making the Vortex kit. This was a limited block of the month. That's what the quilt is going to look like. We got a little magnet with it. And that's what the quilt is going to look like. And this is I'm sorry, it's dark. The lighting is not good here. But this is a limited, it was just for a basic, for people to be able to kind of play with the
To learn it.
paper piecing and to learn it. Yeah.
Okay, now this is the technique that you're going to use. And I'm glad they had the extra pieces. We have D2B and D2A. You know, this is pretty simple. You know, I mean, I can figure it out. But remember in the directions. And for these kits, it's not bad because there are only a couple pages. The skull is on, I have 127 pages. But they provide you, what we're doing is we're going to show this one to this one. And the reason they show this, because once you get into the fancier ones with more cuts, you might be sewing 15 pieces together. So you need these assembly kits so you sew it on there correctly. This is an easy one. I just want to show you the technique. I use my trusty pin that my wife taught me how to do this kind of sort of. You have the 3 fabrics coming together.
Can you see in the camera what they see? Okay.
Where the 3 fabrics together is where I'm going to put the pin.
From the back.
From the back to the front.
So he's putting the pin in on this point.
I don't know if you'll be able to see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
Because on this one, it's only going to have one color.
But those joins need to meet. Right?
Yep. And this is why I like to leave the paper on, because you want to be at the 1/4 inch.
Oh, so you put it on the inside edge of that dark gray line. That's your 1/4 inch seam.
Yeah, that's 1/4 inch seam.
There you go.
And push it all the way through. Because if you try to just sew these together, you might get lucky and you might not. So then, since I have it lined up there, I run the little pin to hold it. And I'm going to run another pin. This keeps all your fabric together. And hopefully you do it right. Now, on my machine, I actually changed the spacing on it. I don't want to do 1.0 because if I do and I don't get it lined up correctly, it's a lot easier. I go to 1.4 so I can get my seam ripper in there. And by having the paper on there, you can see exactly where the 3 come together.
Valerie, this is from LegitKit. This is a block of the month that the sign up is closed. Look at you.
Well, hold on here. We haven't pressed it out yet. It could have been a little bit, but okay. So by them showing everything, I was upside down.
You're all right.
It's like that.
Bring a little lower here. Okay. Got you.
Can't see the color.
Okay.
But that's all you have to do. Use the pins to keep you aligned. I would have to sew. This is D1 and D2. Do the same thing on it. Put them together. Use the same pin techniques.
Look at that.
And it'll come out beautiful. And that's all you have to do. I want to show you. You got to see a lot more than what I wanted to show you with the mistakes today.
That's the
But
way it is.
you need to take it up. They're talking in my chest. My cameraman person. I'm sorry. But I had a great time showing you this. Like I said, I'm gonna try to knock out week 4 or month 4. Get it out of the way so we catch up. If you look up there, I have 1 and 2 on the wall. If my camera person pay attention.
Sorry.
1 and 2 there. We'll put week or month 3 on, attach it to there, and then we'll do number 4. And y'all have a great weekend. As my lovely bride says, go something and have a good time.
Or go sew something.
Remember, it's thread and fabric. You can redo it. We can always get more. Don't stress over it. Have fun. Enjoy. Thanks for coming today. Have a great day.
All right, you guys. Bye. Great sew along, Cindy said. Thank you, Keith.